I won't be upload it until tomorrow whenever I get home. But hi, you guys. Thanks for hopping on again on another Monday night. I'm gonna let Karen take this one over. And I'll just kind of pass it to you, Karen.
Okay, so this was on my heart, and then it was funny because I had a devotion that was like speaking on the same thing. It was like freaky, and then I listened to a Stephen Furtick thing, and it was on the same, and I'm like, okay, I've got to talk about this. So I kind of added a little bit to it, but first of all, I want to say how honored, and it's a privilege to be surrounded by all of you guys. You guys are all persevering. You guys are all showing up every single day for yourselves. I've never been surrounded, or I've been around people like this who push you to be better. And so it's a whole new thing for me, and it's a privilege and an honor to be around all you guys. I love you guys. And I'm not sure what everybody's beliefs are, but I believe in God. So there is God in this. But just going off of my own personal experiences, and I'm going to start off with the second part of notes that I wrote down, and it's why most people don't survive their waiting season. They come into something like this, 3 months, it's not what they thought it was going to be, and they quit, or something like that. But why most people don't survive their waiting season is because that's all they're doing. They do the things that get them to the point, but now they think poof, they feel that they've made it to the top when they've only reached the peak, but they don't see the rest of the mountain that they have to climb, because they feel they're blinded by entitlement, and they feel that they should be getting blessings. Like, okay, I got off the couch, I did my part, I'm still overweight, I still don't have 6 figures in my income in my bank account, right? Like, okay, so I did this, I should get this, but that's not how it works. And they don't like the waiting part, and I'm going to tell you why. The waiting part, the waiting season is so crucial, because that's where you're learning, and that's where you're growing, and that's where your faith is being strengthened. Your faith in yourself, your faith in God, your faith in your business, your faith in whatever it is that you're doing. That's where your faith is being strengthened. That's where you're creating. That's where you're discovering what you're capable of. And they call it a waiting season, but really it's a building season. It's like you're waiting for your house to be built, but the foundation has not even been laid yet. It's you planning, it's you creating, it's you growing. And I know exactly what it is from personal experiences. I know exactly what it is. I know what it feels like. I know the damage that it causes when you give up, because you're not just giving up on yourself. You're giving up on everybody who believed in you. You're giving up on your kids. You're giving up on your husband. You're giving up on all of it. Like, you're not just giving up, okay, well, I tried this, and then you give up, and you think that you're just giving up on that, but you have no idea what you're capable of if you don't get up and try. And I know what it feels like to have given up. I did that for years, and it changes you in a way like no other. And it ended up leading to a depression. And I was that corporate robot. I didn't grow in any job that I had. I talk a lot about how I was built different, because any job that I've ever had to clock into, there's like something tugging on my heart, like I should be doing something more than this. Not that what I was doing wasn't good enough. It was just, I felt like I was supposed to be doing something more. I felt like I was built different. And I just became that corporate robot, and I would clock in, I would do what I was trained to do, and I would go home, and I was miserable at every single job. And I used to job hop so many times because I didn't feel like that's where, I never felt like I belonged somewhere. Like I was, like when somebody goes out and they get their degree, and then they go get their dream job that they worked so hard for, right? And now they're excited and they're passionate, right? I never had that until now. So I just became that corporate robot. And that's a big part of what led to my depression. I believed that I would never amount to anything, not just because people told me that, but because I ended up convincing myself of that. So I never tried to challenge myself. I never tried to do anything new. and I ended up raising my kids from the sidelines instead of from God's words. I ended up just piggybacking shifts, and I never really was with my husband because we were piggybacking shifts because we couldn't afford daycare, and we just stayed on that hamster wheel. I never challenged myself. I never did anything new, and I was never around, like I said, people who push you to be better instead of people telling you you're never going to amount to anything. I never knew this. This is all new to me. And the reason that it's so easy for a lot of people to give up on God and believing in God is because so many people need to see the miracle that they need performed in their lives before they have the faith to believe in Him. Like, they have to see it to believe it. But that's not how life works. That's not how building a business works. That's not how building your house works, because I guarantee you, if you go and you have your plans for your house and you go and you have it built, you're going to change something. You're going to change something. You're going to want different countertops. You're going to want different flooring. There's something that you're going to change. It's not going to be exactly how you think it should be laid out. And that's why a lot of people don't believe in God, because they need to see the miracle that needs to be performed in their lives before they can have the faith to believe in it. They give up on writing that book because it's the idea of writing. It's an amazing and refreshing idea. It's like, I'm going to go write this book and I'm going to tell this story and it's going to be incredible. And I might sell 10 copies, but it's going to be out there and it's something I'm going to do. But, and I know this because I've always wanted to write a book. Not a lot of people know that about me, but I was 12 years old. I used to practice my autograph. It was funny. But we sit down with that pen and that paper, and then we realize the work and the editing and the publishing and the process that is going to go into writing that book. And then it becomes something you put on the bottom shelf that collects dust.
Move your hand,
That thing-
Anthony. Again,
and
you're
you
picking
don't
on
want, you don't want to throw it out because it's still there, and
you don't need to be looking back at her.
maybe you'll be able to write that book. So you don't want to throw that idea completely out. So you just put it on the bottom shelf and it just stays there, right? We always have this idea as to how things are going to be when we start them. I had no idea what this was going to be like. I had no idea that I would be sitting here hosting Zooms for like amazing leaders, and never would have imagined this in my entire life. We always have this idea as to how things are going to be when we start them. I can tell you what I thought. The other business that I was in, I thought I was going to sell some stuff and help provide for my family. I didn't have any training. I didn't have any one-on-ones. I didn't have any of that stuff, but I had an idea of what it was going to be, and that's not what happened. Like, God led me here, not just in this company, but led me here in my life right now. He made a way for us to get out of government housing after 15 years, which is where our kids was raised. He made a way for me to find this nutrition. He made a way for us to find a church, and he led a way for me to this opportunity. And it's different for everybody. A lot of people can come in and hit the ground running and they're 40K leaders. Awesome, amazing, right? That's their story, that's their journey. I came in here not knowing what to expect, but I got so much more than just a paycheck. It's because I'm in that waiting season, but I'm not just waiting. I'm reading books, I'm journaling, I'm in inspirational journals, I'm in discipleship in church, I'm in trainings, I'm hosting trainings. I'm not just sitting there saying, okay, I hit the promoter option, where's my 6-figure income? I didn't drop one squat and say, okay, I'm still overweight. I should have lost 20 pounds with that squat, because that was a really hard squat. But you have to put the work in. You have to learn. You have to grow to where you're going to be. And it was kind of like with me when I came through my depression. I had an idea of what my family was going to be like. I didn't expect a happily ever after because I have teenagers, but I thought, okay, mom's not depressed anymore. Kelly, just wait. I see you laughing, just wait. I didn't expect a happily ever after, but I did think okay, mommy's not depressed anymore. We can live a normal life. I don't even know what a normal life is. But I do know, and I have learned from being in my waiting season, that I get to show my kids whatever they go through, they can overcome. I do get to show my kids that it doesn't matter how old you are, you can build a business. You can go do that thing. Because mommy did it when she was 40, right? And it's because I didn't quit 6 months in. It's because I didn't quit a year in. It's because I'm still here. Because I have seen what it's capable of. I know that this is the vehicle. I have that peace. I have that passion. And I'm kind of going off of my notes now. But you have to go through your waiting season, but you have to grow through it. And once you realize that you have to grow through it, and you start growing and you start evolving in yourself, it's incredible. And I'm most certainly not where I want to be yet, or even where I thought I was going to be. But honestly, I had no idea what to expect when I hit that promoter option. But I'm almost 2 years in, and I could have quit at any time. And I think I've talked about this before. We could all have quit at any time, because the waiting season is hard, because you don't see anything happening. We don't see anything happening because you're not in the books. You're not in the trainings. You're not growing yourself. You're not challenging yourself. You're constantly doing the same comfortable jobs that you always did, because that cashier job is so easy, because working in that restaurant is so easy, and it's an easy paycheck. That's the easy paycheck. If that's what you want, if you're looking for an easy paycheck, there you go. Restaurants are hiring out the wazoo. Gas stations hiring out the wazoo. If you want an easy paycheck, that's your easy paycheck. People think network marketing is an easy paycheck. And that's why most people don't survive network marketing, because they realize it's not an easy paycheck. It's a paycheck you build. You're building this. This is you building for your family. And yes, you can come in and you can hit the ground running and you can be that 40K leader, but I want a foundation. I don't want 40K handed to me. I would not know what to do if you handed me 40K rank. I would not know what I would not know what to do with it. I need that foundation. Every single one of us need that foundation for our business. And whatever that foundation is for you, you have to build it. You can't build a skyscraper on the foundation that's made for a house. Can't do it. You have to have that deep, solid, rooted foundation if you want that residual income, so that if your child is in the NICU, you can be with them every single day. I'm currently in my waiting season, but I'm showing up every single day in it. I'm not just sitting down on the couch waiting, right? We got off the couch, we hit that promoter option, we started thriving. We've already done that, right? Now we've gotten to this point where we have to wait it out, but we got to grow in this waiting season. And I don't know what that waiting season is for you, but for me, it's the growth that I needed. I needed the mental challenge. I needed the mental wake up, because I started this fresh out of depression. It's like I'm a baby in the world, and it's amazing. I'm actually living my life now, and I can't even tell you how that feels. So if you're sitting back and you're wondering, why don't I have a customer base yet? Why am I not building a team yet? Why is this not happening for me yet? I'm showing up, I'm posting, but is that all you're doing? Are you just being a robot? Or are you in the books? Are you in the trainings? Are you actually applying it to your life? Not just listening to it. I can listen to podcasts all day long. They are amazing. Y'all have me addicted to them. My family loves you for that. But it's applying what you're reading. It's applying what you're listening to. It's applying what you're learning to your life, so you can get to that next step. Climbing a mountain is not easy. building a business is not supposed to be easy. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it. So I want you to think, however long it takes you. I tell you tonight, I can tell you this week. I challenge you to think. I challenge you to write down what you're doing, how you can be doing it differently, and where you could be learning about things. And I want you to challenge yourself. If you're scared to go live privately and post it publicly, right? Record a little 59-second video and then upload it to your stories, because I think you can do a minute. I think that's 4 slides on a story, but just record it on your phone until you're happy with it. And then, okay, I'm just gonna send it. Whatever you're uncomfortable with in building your business, if this is your passion, you have to challenge yourself to do better in that area. I'm not a very creative person when it comes to slides and, yes, reels. I keep mine simple, but I try to make them funny. But I had a boxed TV, and you guys are trying to teach me about social media. You're teaching an old dog new tricks. But it's whatever you're struggling with that you're just saying, well, that I'm gonna let those that's for those leaders. Dave, that's for all of us. I got TikTok, okay? If I got TikTok, y'all can do it, okay? I got TikTok, y'all can do anything. If I can do this in my 40s, fresh out of depression, in the middle of 2020, by the way, I started in 2020. You guys can do it. You guys can get up. You guys can challenge yourself to do that thing that you're not comfortable with doing, or you can go get that easy paycheck. And I hope we stay friends. But this is where I'm meant to be. So I'm going to stick around because I want to see what's next.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. I think it's important just to kind of touch base every now and then and talk about that waiting season, because a lot of people are, I'd probably venture to say probably upper 80% of your business is actually going to feel like a waiting season. You're going to always feel like you're waiting around for that next thing growing in this business. You're always like becoming somebody a little bit, leading your Zooms a little bit better. You start and you just become this next level leader that you need to be. But then when you get there, you realize like, holy crap, like I'm actually not there yet. Like I now have to reach a little bit further, right? And it becomes your next waiting season. And you just thought you got out of a waiting season. Maybe you hit a rank and you're just like, I finally hit 4K, or I finally hit 12K or whatever. Like that's going to sit pretty with you for like 12 hours maybe. And then you're going to be sitting there going, okay, now I'm in the waiting season again, right? And you're going to feel like, well, what do I do now? And it's that progression of always chasing that next version of yourself. And it's just like, I know I compare this business to the gym a lot, but it's such a like one-to-one analogy for me. But like when you go to the gym or you go exercise and you work out, let's say your goal is to lose whatever, 10 pounds or whatever. You go to the gym, you work out, you're going to see no results. You're going to get on the scale the next day and see no results. You're going to go to the gym the next day when you're sore and no results. And you're still going to feel like you're always waiting, and that every day you're not even making any progress until finally one day it catches up to you and you realize, holy crap, like I actually have accomplished some of the goals that I've set out to accomplish, right? And I think that waiting season in your business is the part, is kind of like Katie says, like this is where your character is built. This is where resilience is built. And one thing, if you would talk about resiliency, what does it mean, right? I had to teach my 4-year-old this last year, because we always talk about like 5 things we're grateful for at night and 5 things that we are. These are like I am affirmations for my kids. And I started saying, because they would do theirs and then I would do mine, and I would say I am resilient, and Emmy goes, what's resilient? And I said, it's kind of like, like if you get knocked down you get back up. So that's kind of what they think resilience is. And in a nutshell, it kind of is, but like kids version, that's what that means to her. And so when she says it now, she says it almost every single night. She's like, I am resilient, I am strong, I'm silly, whatever. And I think to myself, like, when I'm in those seasons of waiting, of maybe you don't feel like you're getting a lot of results, like that's your resilience season. And you might think I'm crazy, but has anybody ever ran in the rain? Anybody? Okay. It's one of the most, like, I don't even know how to explain it. Liberating? Like, is that the word for it? Like, it's such a good feeling actually to run in the rain, because it's just you. You likely don't have your headphones. Maybe you do. I don't know, but they kind of like slip inside or whatever. But it's just you listening to yourself breathe, listening to the rain hit the pavement. Like the neighborhood's quiet because nobody's out, right? Like, and it's just like this moment where you're like, let me see what I'm capable of, right? And it's this quiet space, it's this quiet moment. And it's just like you've almost, this sounds silly, I know, but it's almost like you've just like cleansed yourself of all the negative thoughts, all the like toxic thoughts that are running through your head, and all the doubts and all the fears and whatever. And you just like let it all go, right? And when you're in that waiting season, think of it kind of like running in the rain. It's like, what can I accomplish in the rain? What can I accomplish in my business, even though maybe my marriage is hard right now? What can I accomplish, even though I'm having a really hard time with my job or my finances or whatever? Like, what can I accomplish in the rain? I want you guys to kind of take that as like the end of the night, but don't sit here and think that like once you're out of a waiting season and you finally have that relief and you finally have that like good feeling and you're just like on top of the world, don't think for a second that that is going to last. I do not want you to get to that moment in false hope, because there will be another moment where you're right back in the same place and you're like, I'm waiting again and I'm frustrated again and I'm not signing anybody again. And it's a constant cycle. Okay. But it's, how do you handle it? How do you handle that season? And what can you accomplish in the rain, in your mindset, in your business, in your heart and posturing, right? So just kind of take that with you tonight, and we'll end it here a little bit early at 8:24. Does anybody else have anything they want to add?
I will say this, you talking about running in the rain,
Oh,
that was day one. That was my first ever workout. I had already hit the promoter button. I was already thriving, but I wasn't working out yet. I was already feeling great, but I hadn't actually started my journey yet, if that makes sense. And y'all had got me into the podcast. So of course I'm on YouTube and David Goggins is yelling at me. And I'm like, why am I sitting here? Like, he was in my room, like he was screaming at me. Y'all know David Goggins. Oh my gosh. And I threw on some ghetto Skechers and some baggy leggings that had been stretched out because whatever. And it was raining that day. That was my day one. That was like the first day of my life. So, like Amber just said, you reach this peak, you've hit 4K, and you think you've made it. You're just starting. It's your new chapter. Just like every month, our trackers go back to 0. You got to write another chapter for your story, babe. You're not done yet. God's not done with you yet. You got to keep going. You got to keep showing up. You got to keep growing. You got to keep learning. You've just reached the peak. You haven't reached the top of the mountain, and the top of every single mountain is the bottom of the next one. So you got to keep going.
all right, you guys, sorry, I was just reading that comment. Yes. So anytime I've ever hit a rank, right, I've always had that moment of like, you almost like you doubt like that you actually got there, right? Period. Like you doubt that you got there and you're like, is this real? Like you actually get to that place. And then like the next day, like it's exciting, but then the next day it's like imposter syndrome times 10. And you're just like, I don't belong here. Like how am I ever going to recreate these results? And it's like I've said before, like you get to choose It's going to happen every single time. I'll tell you that. It's going to happen every single time. Every single time something big happens in your business, it will happen where you get in your head and you realize that you don't have this mastered as much as you thought you did. Anytime maybe your marriage gets hard or your finances get hard or big happy things happen, right? These are the moments that test you the most. I've been here 3.5 years. I'll tell you, all of those moments test me, right? You wake up the next day and you're like, what was that all for a post? Right? And you start thinking, did I do that all for recognition? Like, was I only happy yesterday for recognition? Right? And you start thinking inside your head and you realize, like I said, like you don't have this as together as you thought you did, and you have more work to be done. But the truth of the matter is how long you sit there thinking that of yourself is your choice. How long you sit there thinking that you got there and it wasn't on purpose, or that it wasn't meant to be, or that you're actually not that type of leader like you thought you were, and you're doubting yourself and you're fearing how are you going to fill that tracker up the next month. Like maybe you like barely squeezed by, and then the next month you're like, where's my volume, right? Like, how am I going to do this all over again? I've done that 100 times where it's like I did the exact same thing. Like I squeezed by and maybe it was like tag team or something. And then the next month it's like, well, I'm not going to have tag team again this month. So like, what's going to happen? Right? Like that's me. That's a mindset check that I need to have in the mirror. But just like I said, and we'll end with this, you choose how long you're going to sit there. You might sit there for months. You might sit there for weeks. You might be like, no, I'm not going to think like this. And I'm going to turn this around. Like I'm going to go and pour my heart out on my stories. And I'm going to sign some more customers and add some more people to my team, right? But it's recognizing that all of that mental chatter is completely normal. It's completely normal. It does not mean that you are any, like, what's the word I'm trying to say? Like, it does not mean that you are any less in your own mind, that you're thinking those ways after you've had something big in your business, or after something has been going on in your life and you're just like, I don't even know how to show up anymore. Like, I don't even know, right? Maybe you fell off and you're like trying to figure out how to come back on. You're stuck in your own mental cycle, right? So we'll kind of end it at that tonight, you guys. If you have any questions, drop it in the chat. I will have this uploaded tomorrow, hopefully by noonish, tomorrow afternoon probably. I'll have this uploaded. But thank you, Karen, so much for leading this tonight, and I'll see you guys next week. Yes, Sue, I can do that.